Under newly elected President and Lincoln devotee William McKinley, economic and political progress were charging forward.
McKinley immediately adopted a tariff policy, a protectionist policy, that had the British freaked out. In fact, the British sent key operatives over to the United States to work in 1896 in the campaign against McKinley.
McKinley's election was a major obstacle to the British Empire's promotion of free trade and war. In an explicit revival of John Quincy Adams' Monroe Doctrine policy, McKinley embraced extension of the U.S. railway system through Mexico to the tip of South America. This project, if completed in conjunction with the Russian plans for a Bering Strait rail link, would make it possible by the beginning of the 20th century to travel from Western Europe to the southern cone of the Western Hemisphere by rail. Teddy Roosevelt was forced on as McKinley's new vice president for the next election. His love for the British Empire and its system of racial hierarchy were due to his uncle, James Dunwoody Bulloch, who, during the Civil War, had served in England as the head of the Confederate Secret Service. Bulloch procured the entire Confederate Navy, which destroyed Union ships and blockades of the South, prolonging the war. Teddy Roosevelt considered Bulloch one of his personal heroes, and traveled to meet his exiled uncle in England in 1886 to be tutored on naval war strategy, promoting their new post-Civil War vision of an Anglo-American naval empire. 6 months into his second term, McKinley was murdered by an anarchist, deployed by the Emma Goldman anarchist networks. Goldman would later admit it was London that was the base of operations for her international terrorist movement.
The killing of McKinley, but it was to get rid of him. It brought in Teddy Roosevelt, and Teddy Roosevelt was the British agent.
King Edward VII wrote Teddy letters about how the two of them had been placed in command of the two great branches of the Anglo-Saxon race. As president, Teddy Roosevelt shut down McKinley's Pan-American Rail project. He walked all over the Monroe Doctrine, turning the U.S. from the leading enemy of empire in the Western Hemisphere to its leading friend.